This is the cheapest GTR you can buy, and I'm going to tell you 10 reasons why you should not buy an R33 GTR. Starting off plain and simple, reason number one, actually we just talked about it in the intro, it's cheap. Nobody wants a cheap car. Hold on, it's a lot of money, but in terms of GTRs, they're one of the cheapest you can get. 34s, everyone knows are expensive. 32s, they cost a bit more because, well, they got more they've got more aura, I suppose you could say. So the 33 is always that middle child, everyone knows that. So why would you buy a cheap Skyline when you can go spend 250 grand on a 34? And it's just the same shitbox, really. While we're talking about the 32, the 33, and the 34, that leads us to our second reason, which is size, okay? So I think they're about 75 mils longer than a 32. So about that much, and maybe a touch wider. I think 5 mils wider than a 34. I could be wrong, the numbers could be wrong. That's just off the top of my head, so it's not much. But anyways, it's still bigger, and nobody likes a big car. You know, they call them a boat for a reason. When I'm driving down the road and I pull up next to the SUV or the big ute at the lights, and I'm down here like this, and they look massive, the first thing I think is, wow, this thing is such a big boat, which sort of brings us on to our next one, weight. Speaking of the weight, it's 100 kgs heavier than a 32 and 20 kgs lighter than a 34. So again, why would you want something that heavy? Even though a 34 is heavy, let's just forget about that fact because everyone likes to call it a boat. So we'll just stick with that, even though it's not that boaty. It's pretty boaty, but it's not boaty. Yeah, it's heavier than a 32, over 100 kgs heavier actually, but it's still faster. It's faster in a straight line, it's faster around the track. So all that weight, well, I mean, it doesn't really mean too much, does it? Because it's faster, so I don't know. That's another reason not to buy it. Don't buy this car. And speaking of size, if you go in any JDM coupe from the 90s, you know they are cramped. But I mean, I'm not tall, don't get me wrong, but I've got heaps of room. There's plenty more. I can't even reach the firewall now. And then with the seat back, there's not much, but there's still some room back there. With an RX-7 or something, you could be here and you'll be touching the back seat. Same with this S15, whatever. And again, it's just too big, you know? You don't want a nice spacious car. It's just, don't buy this car. While we're on the interior, we've got these beautiful gauges here. I mean, sorry, there's too many gauges on the inside. It's just, your mind's so clustered because this is so busy at what's going on. And you got all this stuff on the dash and you know, it's just too much going on. Don't buy it, it's yucky. Also, it comes with bucket seats with some holes there. You can put a harness if you need to. This just hugs you too tight. So when you're driving and you're going around the corner and this is grabbing your rib cage, it makes it feel like some big man's grabbing you like this. Ugh. You don't want it, so don't buy this car, okay? That's just disgusting. It's even got a little bump here so that your legs stay in position. They don't move sideways either. Moving on to another point, I've lost count. But anyways, moving on, it's too iconic. You get too much attention driving down the street. And when we were on the way here to film, there was a Commodore with 2 people in it. They were going like this. There was an R35 that flashed his lights. There was kids at the park that went like this as I went past. Heaps of people looking, everybody looks, and it's too much attention, too iconic. You don't want that when you buy an expensive car. You don't want anyone to look at it. You buy it for your own eyes only, okay? No one else's. And yes, it's iconic, which sort of leads us to our next point. It'll become, they already are an investment, don't get me wrong, but it's only gonna be more of an investment. You don't wanna make money. When you buy an old car, you wanna be spending money, and that's it, money pit, gone. Rust bucket, money pit. You don't wanna make money. It's too iconic, too much of an investment, don't buy it. Don't buy this car. Another thing to talk about, another point, whatever number we're up to, I don't know, but the aftermarket parts world, there's just too much going on, too many options, you can't wrap your brain around it, you know? When you're trying to pick an exhaust, okay, I think this was like $200, a cat back exhaust with a high flow cat, so a high flow cat back exhaust, if you will. It's like a couple $100. It's too cheap, too nasty. And then if we move on over here, this car, it's obviously not very low, but it's practical. It's got 10, however you want to say it, coilovers in there. They ride so smooth. Again, you want your race car to feel bumpy. You want it to feel like a race car, you don't want it to feel smooth. And then if we go here, another thing, such a minor detail, but personally I really like the side skirt extension, so I think that this makes the car look 10 times better. And especially when you pair it with these beautiful wheels, these SSR Agelstruce wheels with a custom paint in the middle there. They're very hard to find. And then while we're talking about the wheels, it sort of reminds me of my next point, which is, we've sort of touched on it, it's about the size. And if you look down the side, it's just too fat. This car is boaty. We have talked about this, but I'm just gonna touch on it a bit more. It's too boaty, it's too wide, the wheels are so big, it's hard to fill the guard with such big wheels. You can't find any wheels that fit. It's just another thing that you don't want to buy this car for. You know, don't buy this car, it sucks. And while we're talking about the body, we can talk about this big, beautiful, ugly spoiler. I don't know if you know this, a lot of people do. I guess if you don't know, you don't know, you're gonna learn it. They're actually adjustable. You take this off, move the bolts, and that changes how much downforce. And again, it's massive, it looks really nice and ugly, and then it's just so big that when you're driving your race car, you look in the rearview mirror and you just see it's like right in the middle. And you don't want things that remind you of a race car, okay? Don't buy a 33, they suck. Beautiful ugly spoiler, don't buy it. And while we're talking about the appearance of the car, come to this big rounded front end. We're gonna start off with the headlights. These headlights are supposedly designed to actually look like a race helmet with two eyes peering through. So that's supposedly the look they're going for here. And then of course you've got the ducts here, which has a plastic piece which funnels air to the back brakes directly, or not the back brakes, the front brakes. It funnels air to the front brakes, definitely not the back. And you got this big opening for your intercooler, you got some more cooling going on here. You know, it's just a simple, practical front end. There's not much going on. And again, when you're spending money, you want it to look hectic. You want it to look so sick, vents everywhere, big holes in the bonnet. You want it to be cool, man. This is just ugly and boaty and round. It's just not ideal, okay? And then coming back to the rear of the car, get a zoom in on that, it's a kangaroo. Hey! Oh, there's two of them. Australia, mate. Anyways, coming back to the rear of the car, you've got a keyhole, nice and hidden, discreet, a nice little touch, if 33s were cool. Open the boot, and then you come over here, and what you notice is there's some weird stuff going on, especially with the boot floor. So you got the first boot floor, but then you've got like a second cutout of it on top. And it's like, did someone do a rust repair? No, they didn't, it's still rusty. And then you realize, oh, that's actually a stick-on for, it's sort of like a strut brace, it's for structural rigidity. And that was only if the strut brace itself wasn't enough. So you got two bracings there. And then what's this big black thing? Another strut brace. So you got 1, 2, 3 strut braces right there with the battery hidden in the back to make that center of gravity more center. And it just adds weight. Yeah, it's faster in a straight line. Yeah, it's faster around a corner, but it's just like, you know, too much weight. And as we close the boot here, it just reminded me of another fun fact. Lots of people don't know this one. I only recently learned it myself, but these are actually not round. They're ever so slightly oval. They're a bit longer. Well, they're a bit oval that way, a bit wide, but yeah, ever so slightly. If you have a close look, you can see that and you'll never unsee it. It's a curse. And another thing I just forgot about is that they only come in manual. They only come in manual. Who wants to drive manual these days? You know what I'm saying? $60,000 and you got to drive a manual? No. Go get yourself a, I don't know, a Mustang or something, paddle shifters. That's what we want these days, paddle shifters, nice and fast. Nobody wants manual, it's 2025, nearly 2026. Ugh. And that brings me to my final point. We've sort of talked about it throughout the whole video, is that they're ugly. They're just ugly, big boaty cars. It's too ugly. Look at the ugliness. Don't buy it, everybody. Especially when you've got this bloody awesome Bulk to Build sticker, hey? Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe, please, subscribe. They never look good from any angle. I mean, look at this angle. It looks shit. What about this angle? No, the internet says it's ugly. What about this angle? What about that angle? No. So to recap everything, they're too ugly, they're too spacious, they're too wide and long, so they're too heavy, so they're too fast in a straight line. They're faster in a straight line and around a track than a 32, and only ever so slightly slower than a 34 for a fraction of the price. They're too cheap. What else did we have? They only come in manual, and there's a few other reasons I've talked about. Can't quite remember, but yeah, that's the gist of it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and send this to your friends, see what they think. If you got anything you disagree with or anything you think I've missed out, please drop it down below, okay? I wanna learn something as well. So yeah, thank you and bye-bye.